Hey, what's happening, guys? What's happening? What's happening, my people? Man, I'm super ill today. Honestly. Let me just share you my screen as well. Can you see my screen now, right? Great. What's happening, YouTube live stream? How are you guys? Good morning and good afternoon, wherever you guys are. But yeah, we still have some time left before our session starts. Let me just get my MetaTrader 5 up and ready as well. Yeah, the MetaTrader 5 is actually here, so luckily I didn't have to actually like change all the settings of magic keys because it's the same MetaTrader 5 for Ftmo. But yeah, guys, the challenge has started again. Time to go back in, second attempt, but this time we're gonna smash it for sure. Let me just quickly get my magic keys ready, like the risk and everything. Let me just put that all in, and then we're going to quickly do the breakdown. So obviously, standard, we're gonna go in with 1% risk, nothing more than 1%. Always want to keep your risk moderate to low, low to moderate. Actually, you don't want to go and put your risk up to, like, 3%, especially on a 200k account. That's a lot. 3% is about $6,000, so you don't want to risk that much. It's too much. So yeah, everything else looks good. I think magic keys are good to go. Yeah, I think magic keys is good to go. Let me just start this as well here. And also start this here. Okay. Yeah, magic keys are good to go. So let's see what gold is doing, guys. Today we're going to have a bit of a slow paced day because I'm a little bit ill today. So yeah, don't be expecting too much energy, but most definitely will give you all the analysis that are needed for the day. That's for sure. Okay, let's quickly just remove everything, see what's happening, right? Which one is this? That's your GJ chart. GJ dropped. Wow, GJ actually dropped. Crazy. Okay, looking at gold. Look at this daily candle, right? It has the bottom wick, and now it also has the upper wick. So how big is the whole daily range? If we actually look at the intraday range, it's only about 97 pips. Luckily for us, that's really good because we do understand that gold likes to move about 200 pips in one direction. So if it does want to reject and start dropping down, then we can potentially see 200 pips to the downside, right? Because it's all the way up here, is at the top side of the range. When it drops down, it's going to come down to retest the lows, potentially break the lows, and then drop down another 100 pips where we have this resistance level. So let's quickly just see what's happening on the monthly time frame now before we do anything else. Okay, so looking at the monthly time frame, we're actually approaching these areas over here. Usually price does reject from these areas. As we can see, potentially this is where we started the uptrend, and then after that, this was the highest that we formed. This was the all-time highs over here on this uptrend, and then from there we started to form a minor downtrend. And looking at this minor downtrend now, let me just quickly move this. We can see that potentially this was our first swing high. After forming this swing high, look what we've done. We came back up to retest this, which is your resistance area here on the monthly time frame. And then after that, we got a very nice drop all the way down to this area. And then from there, you got another retest. Price came all the way back up again. This area has been holding for a very long time now. Look at that. We formed a double top up here as well, which is very strong. Especially if you form this on a monthly time frame, that's a very strong confirmation. And then as soon as you saw this formation, look, price just started to drop all the way down there, and then we formed a support around here. Let's just mark the support area we have, and then the support got retested twice as well. Look, another formation of double top on the monthly time frames. Look at this, right? And we do understand that on the overall higher time frames, we are really bullish on gold. We are really bullish. So at this point now, we need to understand what's the range that we have. So this becomes our range because we have gotten 2 rejections from the top side, and then we also have gotten 2 rejections from the downside. But the rejections that we have gotten from the downside are much more sustainable because you guys see this, right? Price actually came up, formed a new high, and then after that came down another high, and then obviously afterwards it came down. So now look, how many times have we actually attempted to break down? This was our second attempt here, this was the most recent attempt there, and then after that, what's happened? Price closed all the way up here, and then the next candle came down, retested something here, and then rejected again. Next one opened, done a little retest, again formed another sort of rejection candle from the top side, right? And this shows us that this is some sort of area. Price has been rejecting off of this area. It's done that numerous times, right? Especially the previous candle. But now looking at the monthly candle, the current monthly candle, what it has done is it came all the way down to this support area, and now it's going all the way up to the highs, right? So what are the next logical highs? Because we went past these highs now, so we don't need to actually look at these highs anymore, because this does not become our destination. We're way past this, so we need to see what's our next destination. Looking at this will become our next destination now, which is about 47 pips away from our current price action, right? Actually the current highs, so from the current price action is about 89 pips away. So now if we go down to the weekly time frame, let's see if we have some sort of liquidity on the weekly time frame. Okay, look at this now. So the previous weekly candle actually closed with no upper wick either, and now we're really approaching this area where we get a lot of rejections from. And the current weekly candle that we have has only moved about 180 pips, and let's see how big this upper wick is. So the upper wick is about 57 pips, right? But let's see the formation of this upper wick as well. Where did we reject from? So now looking to the left, okay, we actually had some sort of issues to the left. When we actually look to the left, we had some sort of issues around this area. When price was coming up, it had some sort of pullback from this area, so we understand that this is some sort of area of interest. And then after that, price came all the way down, did a pullback, and then after that we broke out of this. Looking to the left furthermore, can we see something else? Okay, we can see another rejection here. So now this is giving us a lot of confirmations, because we're looking to see if this area is a strong area, right? If we can go based off this area and see this area as a key level. And now when we look to the left, we understand that yeah, we have had numerous rejections from this area. So now as our jobs as traders is to understand what is the current weekly candle doing. It has the upper wick and it has the bottom wick, right? So this becomes our intraday range, actually not intra-weekly range just yet, because the weekly candle is still literally, this is the second day in. But what we can do now is we can mark the highs of the weekly candle, and we have the lows of the weekly candle marked anyway, right? These are our weekly lows and these are our weekly highs at this point. And now what we can do is we can go all the way down to the lower time frames and see what other candles we can see. Can we see something which is going to throw us off, or are we going to see clean traffic? Okay, look at this now. The area that we have approached, where do we usually get the rejections from? So price came all the way up here, got a tiny bit of a rejection from this area. Look at that. But this was just a pullback, right? This wasn't a major rejection. It was just a pullback. And then the next candle actually opened right here. You created a bottom wick, and then after that we formed new highs. Same thing happened here. Got a rejection from this area. This area turned into a resistance area. Another rejection here, and then we had another rejection here. So now honestly, it becomes very tricky for me to actually execute on a buy position, because looking at all of these candles over here, do we see any sort of sustainable price action in the market? We do understand how sustainable price action works. It works in waves. It likes to create waves, right? It doesn't just go straight up unless there is some sort of like fundamental factors in the markets. And at the moment, we don't really have any sort of fundamental factors in the market. So this is your technical analysis, and we understand that if we are approaching something like this where we have gotten so many rejections from, look at that first rejection, second, third, fourth, let's be honest, we will see something again as soon as we approach this area. So that's something I would be looking to execute on. Let's see if we can go down to a lower time frame and see if we have actually tapped into something. Wow, look at this range that we have been in. Look at this whole range. So wow, honestly, I can really see us correcting this whole move. You see this whole move up, this can really get corrected because gold does that. Gold really does that. So we might see really nice sells playing out today. But again, do you really want to catch buys when you're approaching this area, which is literally about 50 pips away? It becomes really tricky. It becomes really tricky. Let's mark the intraday range as well that we have so far. So these are the daily lows. Where are we rejecting from? Even the daily lows, I want to see what did we retest. Did we retest anything that's a area of significance? So okay, look at that. Previously, when we actually retested this area here, we came all the way up. So we actually cleared this area. So we can see that this area was retested here, and then the candle actually closed all the way up here. So now we need to see what happened again. Look at that. We retested the same area here, but again, this became our rejection area. And this was the most recent price action as well. And can we see any other retest that we have? So we don't really need to go to the left because we can see something here and we can see something here. So now I would go for something like this because obviously this is way more recent compared to the previous price action. And you gotta understand, this area was your pullback area, very strong area. When price was coming back up, this is where you got the reversals from. Exact same thing. Look, exact same place as well, where we actually started the pullback from. See that, right? The pullback started from here, and then price came all the way up to this. This is the top side of the range, and then from there you saw a very massive reversal. So I'll be very careful around this area. In order for me to execute on a buy position, I would like it to come all the way down, at least 25%. So when I say 25%, so this is like the first 25% of your candle, and then this becomes the 50%, that becomes 75, and then 100 basically, right? So I would like to see us catch these buyers from like the 25% range. So some sort of retracements. Let's go down to the 4-hour time frame, see what else we can see. It's very choppy price action at the moment. Very choppy price action. Look how many rejections we had. Price came all the way up here, had a rejection, another rejection, another rejection. You don't have any sort of clean structure right now. That's the thing. Even if we go down to maybe a 1 minute time frame, let's see if we can find something. Yeah, at the moment, guys, literally nothing clean. Let's see what London done. What did London do? Yeah, we've just been within this range. Look at that. And now we're very close to this area of rejection as well, so I have to be super careful, honestly. So look, this was a rejection area, and now let's see how many times did we reject off of this area. One time here. Look, where did we start? You got to also see where the liquidity zones are, right? So your liquidity zones are where the massive moves start from, because that's where the orders are being executed. So look at this. This is one of your liquidity zones now. So we actually violated this, grabbed a lot of liquidity over here now. And then at this point now, if we can start closing above this structure that we have, at that point we can most probably go all the way up to at least 29, or if we cross 29, then we can go up to 33. But until then, this is just very rangy. I'll be super careful taking a trade within this range over here. I'll be super careful, extra careful. I would like to see some sort of clean price action. We're inside a 4-hour order block from September 6th. That's what I'm saying. This is literally where you have a lot of orders being executed, right? So something like this, I usually like to stay away from. Because even if we do try making sense out of this, look, we can try making sense out of this from here. We can say, look, it was forming higher highs, higher lows, and then look at that. What happened here? It just started to range, and then it broke out of the range. Why did it break out of the range? Was it grabbing liquidity? Or was it doing a deeper retest? It came back up to retest the highs of the range, again rejecting, coming down to retest the lows of the range. And then what's the next logical thing is going to do? Retest the highs of the range. Done the same thing here, again came back up. So now this is the question we're asking. So what is this? This is a massive rejection candle. Now, is this your liquidity grab? So if we have the liquidity grab now, and we see a very nice rejection from this point on, and if we start to see formation of lower lows and lower highs, what's the best thing we can do? We're at all-time highs on the daily candle. The safest trade that I can see us executing on will be sells, because you really want to capitalize on a buy position here. When gold is literally at all-time highs, you're tapping into these areas over here. I have to be extra careful because look at this. Literally, this area was retested here as well, and then from there you got massive drop. I'm going to just move the line to the left a little bit more. So look at this, right? I don't know, buyers look very tricky today. I'm more interested in a sell position. If I can see some sort of nice structure being formed here. But buys look really tricky, really tricky today. Okay, so where is the main liquidity area that we have? This becomes our liquidity zone right here. So in order for me to execute on a sell position, I want to see some sort of retest of this zone right here. If we can actually retest this, and from there see some sort of nice bearish candles being printed. I don't know why these charts are so laggy. These ones are much better. Those charts are so laggy. So again, we have another 2 minutes left as well, so hopefully in the next 2 minutes we can see some sort of volatility come into the market and hopefully see some momentum to the downside, because I would like to see a nice trade to the downside first. Again, look at gold. It is really bullish at the moment. You have to understand one thing, guys. Sustainable price action does not work this way, right? It needs to create lows, create highs. It needs to move in a wavy sort of structure. Right now, we don't see any sort of wavy structure. And looking at this, a lot of rejections from this point on. And this is so close to our current price action as well. So if we can see a nice tap of this area and then from there start to reject, that'll be lovely as well. But maybe if we can go down to the lower time frames, we can actually see rejections from below this area. So usually this is where price rejects from. Once you clear this, okay, you have a rejection from this area here as well. Look at this, but we're way past this, so this area becomes irrelevant. And then obviously going back again, usually price does reject from here. Okay, got one rejection from here, another rejection from here. Look, price retested this. So I would like to see price go up a little bit more, see if we can reject off of this area. Let me just quickly mark this. I would really like to see some sort of rejections off of this area though. That would be like the sweet spot for the sells to play out, because then you're literally at all-time highs. You don't have sustainable price action in the markets, and this is like very nice setup for sells to play out. If we can see this playing out, I think we can potentially see like 200 pips to the downside. So I would really like to scale in if I see a lot of volatility. So this is our session now. Let's see what's happening, right? Let's go to the 30-minute candle. Okay, it has the bottom wick and it has the upper wick. Again, where is the top side of the range? Usually this is the top side of the range. This is where we reject from. So let's see, can we start forming higher highs and higher lows above this? Because look, we have liquidity in the market as well now. This is where your liquidity was being generated because you broke out of the structure, stopping everyone out. Because look at this, it pushed up a lot actually. It pushed up about 12 pips. So all your intraday traders and whatnot, that's where their stop losses are, above the range, if they're taking sell positions, right? Or maybe it's below the range. And look at this. What business does price have breaking below the range over here and faking? The next candle actually faked out the previous candle. Again, liquidity grab, right? So that's why we just have to wait and see. I think we can see really nice moves, but we have to wait for those extra bit of confirmations now. That's the thing. So this was the last bit of rejection area that we had. Let's go to the 1 minute time frame now. And yeah, this is basically your liquidity zone as well on the 1 minute time frame now. So let's see if this gets respected. Are we going to respect this, start dropping from here? Or are we going to see more probability to our side? If there is probability to the top side, we have this nice range to the top side as well. About 34 pips, very nice range to the top side. Ooh, this candle was very explosive, man. Very explosive, 15 pips. Very explosive, 15 pips. I mean, the more it pushes up and the more explosive the moves are to the top side, the better it is for the selling side as well, because the correction will be just as explosive. And honestly, me being a very disciplined trader, it becomes very tricky for me to actually execute on a buy position here when we're at all-time highs. Would you really want to buy at the all-time highs? But once we do clear this, look at this, look to your left, is very clean traffic, very clean traffic. We understand one thing, right? You gotta understand one thing. This is where you have a lot of sell orders. This is where you have a lot of liquidity. So over here, the chance of you getting stopped out is very high. But as soon as you start to clear this, look at this. This is a very clean move. There are no orders here. There are literally no orders here. You can easily take a buy position here and like kind of like mimic this whole move down. Literally, we can take a buy position above this. But until then, we have to be really careful. We have to see where was the last bit of an area where price rejected from. So now it's not really that far at all. It's literally just 47 pips away. And I'm really willing to miss out on this. I have no FOMO because I do understand how the orders work, the buy orders, the sell orders, where the liquidity is. This here, you can see a very, very massive rejection from this point on. But now let's look at the daily range again. Let's see, are we seeing some sort of pullbacks now? Where was the last bit of area where sellers took control from? All the way down here. Let's turn this white. Now let's see, can we respect these lows over here now? Oh, what's going to happen? Look at this. A lot of momentum kicking down now. After grabbing this liquidity, ooh, man, the sells are looking really good now, guys. Ooh, the sells are looking good now, guys. See the liquidity is on. Ooh. If we can see a nice break below this, ooh, the sells are looking nice. We have a lot of liquidity in the market at this point as well now. And, oh, I don't know, man. I think I might be executing on a sell position soon here, guys. I want to see how the next candle opens. If it can give me that upper wick and then start dropping down, I might look to execute a sell position here. Let's see how the next one opens now. Come on, next candle needs to open nicely. And then start breaking these lows here, start breaking these lows here. We're coming all the way down as soon as we start breaking these lows here. We need to violate these lows though. Violate these lows. We're going all the way in. Okay, let's see now what happens. Can we see something play out? Stop loss above the structure, obviously, because we have a very nice range to the downside. But obviously, you want to see these lows get violated at this point now. And you have a lot of liquidity here as well. This is one of your liquidity areas, right? Look at that. This does not become your retest until this candle actually engulfs everything to the left. If we start breaking below these, I'm taking a sell position here. Big stop loss though. Big stop loss. But it makes a lot of sense for us to go down. Alright, I'm about to execute on this bad boy now. Okay guys, I'm in this trade. I'm in this trade for sure. Partial TP, 1 times 1. I'm in this trade now. I'll secure 90% at 1 to 1 because my stop loss is very massive. And as soon as we start to violate this, we're going all the way downtown. I'm telling you guys, this was your liquidity area. That's why I was not looking for those buyers. And I told you, if the push up is explosive, the push down is going to be very explosive as well. So let's see how this works out now. If we start, now you gotta understand another thing, right? Now, where did the sellers take control from? The sellers actually took control all the way from up here, and look at the momentum compared to the buying momentum. The momentum to the downside was insane, but again, you're expecting some sort of structure to be formed, right? Some sort of higher highs, higher lows, and then at that point, if we see more momentum to the downside, we can potentially scale in. But let's just see now. Let's play the game of probability, right? Let's play the game of probability. This is where the sellers took control from. We can see previously when sellers took control from this area, it was a very dominant area on the selling side. A lot of sellers are sitting here, they drove the price all the way down to this area. So at this point now, this also becomes your liquidity zone as well. Because so you understand, where are the liquidity zones? Especially gold loves reacting to liquidity zones on 1 minute time frame. That's one thing I've realized. So let's see now if we can start violating these lows here. Might scale in with the position. If we can start violating these lows over there. If we can start violating these, should be good to go down, honestly. Should be amazing to go down, actually. But I want to be super careful, though. Now, in order for us to obviously, like, scale in, we need to, again, play the game of probability. Where are buyers taking control from? Where are buyers taking control from? Look, buyers drove the price up from this level, this point on, and then these become the lows, right? The all-time lows. Ooh, as soon as we start breaking these lows, maybe a stop loss above this to secure the 1 to 1. Tempted. Because I can really see gold actually dropping now. Look at the daily candle as well. Where the daily candle tapped, literally these resistances, the pullbacks are going to be massive, and we can potentially form a new bottom wick if there is more momentum to the downside. If we can see some nice momentum to the downside, potentially form a deeper bottom wick, because we don't really have any sort of liquidity on the daily time frame. Look at that. There is literally no liquidity. The liquidity is all the way up here or is all the way down, right? Even below the previous daily wick. So two things are going to happen. Either we're going to break to the top side with a lot of momentum, start clearing all of these highs, or otherwise the next logical thing is obviously break the lows of the previous daily candle. And what's happening right now is that we're rejecting, and this is when you have a lot of momentum in the this is the session where you have a lot of momentum. And then when the momentum kicked in, look what happened. The momentum is to the downside. You're forming higher highs and higher lows at this point now. If you start breaking these lows here, that's more probability to the downside, right? Where was the last bit of area now where sellers took where buyers took control from? Right here. So now let's see, is this area going to be respected, or are we going to start violating these lows and start pushing down? So you just have to play the game of probability. Let's see what happens. But if we can start breaking these lows, honestly, I can see us getting a nice position, kind of like keeping your stops above here, above the structure, about 28 pip stop loss. Let's see though, let's see. Have to wait for it to play out now, because you need to give it a lot of room to breathe. So if we take a position here and put a stop above this or even above this, the chance of us getting wicked out is really high. So something like this, what you can do is actually use scale-ins. Scale-ins are actually really beneficial. When one of your positions, let's say, is in profits, you can scale in with another position if the structure is going your way, if everything's going your way. Until then, you have to be super careful, super careful. Now, you don't want to see these highs get violated. Where can we expect a retest up to? Look, a retest up to here could be potentially good. We could form a double top up here. Look at that, we actually did a retest right here, look. See this, right? So now, as long as we respect these highs that we have and start forming new lower lows, the probabilities to the downside, and then the new 4 hour approaching can give us more momentum once it wants to form the upper wick and the bottom wick. And then with the bottom wick, we can start pushing all the way downtown. Let's see what happens. Just gotta let it do its thing. Look at the daily candle just starting to reject now. This was a very massive rejection actually. 36 pips. And the daily candle has literally just moved about 100 pips altogether. So it can very easily break the lows of the previous daily candle, pushing 200 pips altogether to the downside. But let's see what happens. This is your liquidity zone right here. Gold loves reacting to those liquidity zones. That's one thing I know for sure. Same thing played out, literally the same thing played out. But now in order for us to actually like scale in, you want to see a pullback, retest, and then another low being formed. At that point, you know that, okay, lower lows and lower highs are being formed. At that point, even the highs over here can be a very nice stop loss, something like this. Until then, if you're in this position, the stop loss has to be above the current structure. So it has to be really big. But obviously, you can always tighten your stop loss, right? That's always part of the game. Until then, just gotta let it play. Just gotta let it play. So look, now, where does it make sense to enter this position? Where was the last bit of area where buyers took control from? Right here. As soon as you start to violate this, that's more confirmation to the downside. Until then, what does this become? This becomes your pullback, your retracement. Why is price retracing? Because price needs to move in a sustainable manner. How does price move in a sustainable manner? It needs to make a low, it needs to make a high, it needs to make another low. So now, as long as we don't violate the highs that we have formed, we should be good to go. But if we do start violating these, at that point, this whole setup becomes irrelevant. And then at that point, it doesn't make sense, right, to execute on something like this. But until then, is a good setup. We can see it working out. We can expect some sort of rejections from this area, some sort of massive bearish candles. Breaking these lows, if we can see something like that, that'll be amazing, because it needs to go somewhere, right? Either to the top side or the downside. And now when you play the game of probability, it will tell you that it wants to go to the top side or it wants to go to the downside. But until then, you just have to let it do its thing. It might even want to retest this area again, forming a double top up here. That's why I have to wait for the lows to get broken. Have to wait for the lows to get broken. And got let it do its thing. Right here. How big will the stop loss be though? How big will the stop loss be? It will be about 57 pips. Yeah, at this position, look, at this point it becomes a bit tricky to actually execute on this though. It becomes really tricky because the stop loss is massive at this point now. If we can see a nice stop loss, let's see if we can form a double top here though. Otherwise, if you start to clear this setup here becomes irrelevant now. It really does become irrelevant. At that point, I'm not scaling in over here. If we start to break these highs, I'm not scaling in. But if we do respect these highs, at that point, this is just your double top being formed. Let's see what happens. Two things are happening, right? Either this is your pullback to form a new high, or this is your rejection area to form a new low. Let's see what happens. Just gotta let it do its thing. Really simple. Looking at the 4-hour time frame now as well. Yeah, gold's in a massive uptrend now. So if we don't get these rejections now, honestly, it becomes very tricky to actually take a position. That's the thing. I'm not happy with taking any sort of buy positions here. I want to see this work out and then I'll be happy. Execute on this, scale up. But until then, it becomes really tricky, man, to execute on any positions within this range. If you guys go on the daily time frame, you will see what I'm talking about. But from here, I want to see momentum kick into the downside. Start to engulf everything to the left. Otherwise, this is going to fly to the top side, right? And risk to reward becomes really tricky when you're literally approaching this range in 20 pips. You can get rejection from here. This whole range is only about 40 pips away for gold. So you can even get a very nice sell or buy position from up here. So that's where your patience will be tested. But let's see what happens here. You got your new 4-hour approaching as well. From here you can start to see more rejections now, maybe to the downside. Forming a double top here, we understand that that is a really strong formation as well, if you can see something like that. Otherwise, we're going to start clearing this. If we start to see a support being formed up here, I mean, potentially, yeah, you could execute on something like this if you want, but I don't know. I'm not interested in something like this just yet. I want to see what happens around this area first. Then I'll look to see. This is the new 15-minute open as well, by the way. So it's just forming a bottom wick. At this point, it doesn't have an upper wick, so it's going to go up a little bit now. And then obviously, after that, let's see what happens. You've broken out of the range at this point now. Very strong breakout of the range. You know, when you do break out of the range, you're going to see very nice moves, either to the top side or the downside. But now, again, guys, for me, I'm sticking to only 1 to 2 trades a day. So I want to take the highest probability setup. I don't like any sort of trades within this range. Usually, I'm the first person to say, let's take a buy. But when you're approaching something like this, let me show you guys again what I'm talking about. If you guys actually missed out, look at this to the left. This is the daily time frame, by the way. This is the daily time frame. Look how many rejections there are, and this is only about 40 pips away. So I don't know. It becomes a bit tricky to actually take a buy position here. But if now this can start holding and we can start forming a double top here, that would be so beautiful. But let's see what happens. It looks quite bullish right now, honestly. The way it's closing as well, it looks really bullish. Unless you see a massive bearish candle now starting to go down, it looks really, really bullish. And it might want to reject from this point on. So potentially if we can see a short position playing out here, stops above this. This is also where you have a lot of liquidity. So you're going to see a very massive drop from here, or very massive push up. This is a lot of liquidity here. Let me just show you guys again. If you guys understand how liquidity works, you are going to see a really, really massive push either to the top side or the downside from this point on here. So I'm going to save my trade for that. I'd rather not exhaust myself just yet. 1 to 2 trades a day. I don't want to exhaust my trades. rather wait for this to play out. If it works out now, then yeah, I'll be happy to execute, but right now I need to see that double top being formed. Until then, waiting for this area here. One rejection. Let me just show you again how many rejections there are. Also, let's just quickly mark out all the wicks so we don't miss out any rejections. So one wick is there, one wick is here. This is one of the wicks here. This is our rejection wick right here. And also you want to go for the first candle, because the first candle is the actual candle, right? And then the second one becomes your retest pullback candle. So far so good actually. And let's just move this down a little bit more. Look at this now. Look at your range now. Look at your range now. Whoa, I'm not taking no buys here. I think very nice sells can play out, but I have to be super careful. Either double top formation here, then we can execute on something like this. Otherwise, we can execute on something like this here. Let me just make this smaller. If we don't see something like this playing out, buys, just a big no-no. If you can see something like this playing out, that'll be amazing as well. Look at the risk to reward as well. Or even double top, as I said. As long as your stop loss is in a good place, this should not stop you out, right? Stop loss goes above the structure, 5-6 pips minimum. So your stop loss should be potentially all the way up here. 5-6 pips above the structural highs. So literally, yeah, up here. So even if you see a double top being formed here, that's really good. But you want to see the double top being formed here now. This is your liquidity zone as well. So we do understand that we have liquidity in the market. Very nice push down. It got corrected. Now, what is price going to do? You got your new thought of approaching as well, by the way, in the next 11 minutes. That's a big stop loss. Yeah, that's the thing. That's why I'm not going to execute on something like this just yet. But if we do see a nice rejection from here, at that point, you got to understand, look, your entry is not going to be here. Your entry is going to be up here somewhere. So that's why I'm waiting for double top formation to play out from here. At that point, I'm not going to secure 1-to-1 either. I'm going to hold it for at least like 1 to 2 risk to reward. I can see that happening. But let's see now if we can see massive bearish candles printing out over here. Right now, have to wait. Because you gotta understand, where was the last bit of area where buyers took control from is all the way down there. You see sellers taking control from here. So now if you can see a nice close below 1827 retest and another nice bearish push, at that point we can execute. So technically the position can be here now. So look at the risk to reward at this point as well. Even if we are aiming for the daily lows, which is all the way down there. Let's just mark the daily lows as well. But that's what I'm saying. I don't want to exhaust my trades just yet. I'll wait for the extra bit of confirmations. Look at the daily lows are all the way down there. This is at least 75 pips. And once you start to violate the daily lows, guess what's going to happen? It's going to push even more. So yeah, let's see if we can see something like this playing out. Either this sell setup or this one over here. And my magic keys are ready to go. I'm ready to go. But again, it has to be a very nice confirmation for me to execute on here, because I do understand one thing about gold. It usually likes to go literally to the T, and then from there it needs to reject. So it needs to give me a lot of confirmation, right? So now at this point now, this is becoming a double top formation. I understand that is very strong. So I'm like, okay, what's the next bit of an area where usually gold rejects from? Look at that. From here, price went all the way down here. From there, you actually got a rejection, done a retest. At that point, you saw a very, very nice drop. So now if we can start forming some sort of like, resistance below this area, I'll be like, okay, the probability is actually on our side. You can see a retest right there as well. So that's what I'm looking for now. So a sell, basically either some sort of, this area turns into a resistance, massive bearish candle, stop loss obviously goes above here, sell position always 5 pips above the structure, otherwise something like this. Because it can very easily just start pushing up now, but I don't want to capitalize on these buys just yet. Doesn't make sense, man, when you're approaching this area here. But I'm going to scale in a little bit though. So because I want to scale in, I'm going to lower down my risk so I can take at least 2-3 positions. So obviously when you're looking to scale in, you don't want to go in with massive positions. So it makes sense to actually lower down your risk to 0.5%, and then you can take 2 positions, kind of like putting your risk up to 1%. And if one of your positions runs like literally at 1 to 2, that's amazing, right? Amazing. Started off. Okay, great. So there we go, guys. Look at this now. Look at this candle engulfing everything to the left. But do we want to take any so now this is another confirmation engulfing bearish candle. Look at this. This gives us probability now. How much probability do we have? 20% because of the double top formation. This is our next probability candle at this point now because it engulfed everything. So it gives us more probability to the downside for the sells to play out. And obviously now next probability will be once we clear this area. So if I see more probability start to clear this area, at that point I'll look to execute. But until then, just have to wait for the confirmations. Don't want to be extra excited and predict price to actually start dropping, because literally you're forming higher highs and higher lows right now. So you don't want to predict, you want to react. That's what we do over here. Make sure you guys do drop a like on the YouTube live stream. As soon as these sell setups start to show up, I'll execute right there and show the MetaTrader 5 as well. But until then, today I'm going to be very, very patient because we are in a very, very tricky sort of place, because you are approaching this area here where you can actually just reject from very massively. We can technically see something like this, massive push to the top side, stopping everyone out. Literally, we can see us breaking this, pushing up another 20-30 pips, stopping literally everyone out. This is where you have a lot of buy orders and a lot of sell orders. So as soon as you break the highs, you're going to see the buy orders being executed and you're going to see a massive push to the top side. But at that point, you're going to see sustainable price action kick in and massive correction. That's what I'm looking to execute on, the correction from here. That's when my stop loss is going to be like up here somewhere, and position somewhere here. Let's see. Now at this point, this candle here becomes irrelevant. We're going to take this off because the previous candle has actually broken the highs over here, right? So it becomes irrelevant at this point. But now if this one does a retest, look where the highs are, where have we formed the highs? The all-time highs are right there. Now if this becomes a rejection candle breaking these lows there, at that point the probability comes back to our side because you're respecting the highs. This becomes your retest, rejection candle, and this candle, if it engulfs everything, starts breaking these lows, it should be good to go down. Let's see if we can give it a little bit more probability to the downside, but until then we really have to wait. We just have 20% probability on our side right now. Do you want to execute on something like that? No, not yet. You want to see a new low being formed, that's going to give us another confirmation, right? Because this becomes, technically, even though this candle did break the highs of the previous candle, it did not close above it. So this candle still does hold as a bearish candle, engulfing bearish candle. So now you want to see this candle start to break all lows, start pushing down. And you have the new 4 hour approaching as well, guys, in the next 5 minutes. Literally, we're going to see something so nice play out. I'm really excited to see something like this play out because this is literally just about 48 pips away. So as soon as we see a massive rejection from here, so now what sort of rejections are we looking for? Again, guys, it won't be something like a double top I'll be expecting here. I'll be looking for just momentum candles because this is where you have a lot of buy orders, a lot of sell orders. You're not really going to see a pullback on gold. Gold is a really volatile pair. So as soon as I see something that is very, very massive and engulfing bearish candle from a key area, I'll look to take a trade. It will be a little bit tricky, but I'll navigate you guys through everything. But until then, we just have to wait. This is just the start of the session. The new 4 hour is opening in the next 3 minutes, and then we got the next session approaching, which is NYSE. So hopefully during that time we can see something nice playing out. So guys, we have about 45 people watching. Can we hit 40 likes today? That's my goal. If we can do that, that'll make us really happy. Show up every single day, give you guys all of these setups. As I said, this is one of the setups I'm looking for. If this becomes irrelevant, we start breaking out of this, then this is the next setup we're looking for. But again, guys, we also have to understand how can we execute on a buy position, because we want to be fluid in the market, right? Now looking at the whole range, right? Once you do clear this, when you do clear all-time highs, let's actually just mark the all-time highs that we have, because what wicks either become the rejection areas or they become your destinations, right? So now if we start clearing this wick, we need to see where the next wick is. So what's our next destination? So let's just mark the highs that we have over here. Look to the left now. Look to the left, look to the left, look to the left. Can we see something? Look at that. When we turn this area into a support area, look what happens. Very nice push up to the next resistance level, which is all the way up here. So we're going to just mark this as our next target. If we start turning this area into some sort of support area, yeah, most definitely. This is where you have the last bit of wick right there. Just put it there. Yeah, if we can start turning this area into some sort of support area, we understand the price usually goes all the way to the top side. All the way to the top side. So this range is about 60 pips. And yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Because you have a lot of buy orders above this. When you do see all of those buy orders being executed, you're going to see a very nice push. Very nice push. Well, this is what we're waiting to see now. Can we push up to this zone, or are we going to start holding here and then potentially start pushing down? So right now we don't have much probability on our side to execute on a sell position. So we just have to wait, have patience. The game is literally all about your trading psychology. If you can be a calm trader, you can really be profitable in this field. But right now, let's be honest, you are in a range. Do you want to execute on this? No. When something so nice is setting up, I'd rather just wait for this, because I have 1 to 2 trades in the system. That's how my trading system works. So I don't want to exhaust them on a low probability setup. But as I said, if the odds do stack against me, I would not execute. But let's say if the odds are in my favor and I see like, okay, now the probability is on my side, at least 60% probability, at that point I'm like, okay, I have the edge in the market, let's execute on this, and I'll let you guys know as well. But until then, we just have to wait. Hopefully in the next couple minutes we can see this playing out. But guys, drop a like on the YouTube live stream. We have 19 likes. Can we hit 40 likes? That's my goal today. That'll be amazing. We have more than 40 people watching. And hopefully, as soon as we do execute on something like this, my MetaTrader 5 is actually just on the other screen. I'll show you guys my MetaTrader 5 as well. Yeah. This is my MetaTrader 5 right here. You guys can see the magic keys are good to go. Everything's ready. Just waiting to execute, really. That's it. Yeah, honestly, gold is setting up for something nice today. I can feel it. So around 2 o'clock, we have this news kicking in with the new 4-hour open. So now let's see what happens. This might just be it, guys. See this as well. So you had obviously the PPI news at 1:30 as well. Amazing. So around 2 o'clock now, see this red folder. So let's see what happens now. There we go. Ooh. Okay, now let's look at the 4-hour, because I might be looking to execute on a sell position here. But let's quickly just focus at the 4-hour now. We have to really be focused, because look, 2 things are going to happen, right? It's going to either form a bottom wick and start pushing up to the top side, or it's going to drop down a little bit. Now, if we can get a very nice explosive push to the top side, let's see if we can see those rejections. Let's look at the 4-hour quickly. The 4-hour has the bottom wick at this point now, so you want to see a nice push all the way up to this range. From there, start to see those rejections kick in. You've broken out of this range now, so obviously the probability has gone out the window now. Again, if you do a retest of this, you're coming all the way to the top side. See the way this is retesting these highs now? As soon as you create the bottom wick, it's going to push up at least another 20 pips. But let's see now. Either that, or this is going to fake everything out to the left. Where was the last bit of area now? We're biased to control that. Look, biased to control here. If we start breaking below this, the selling probability is on our side. So let's see what happens now. Because you have the upper wick as well as the bottom wick now, right? So what business does price have breaking the bottom wick again? Oh, I think sells might be playing out now. I might be looking to execute on a sell position here. I'm just going to get my magic keys ready. But, ooh, I might be looking to execute on a sell position here, guys. Let's see. Guys, I might be looking to execute on a sell position here. Let's see if we can start breaking the structure lows. Okay, I'm in this. I'm in these sells now. Aiming for the 1-to-1. Got to be super careful. I've gone in with low risk position. I'll scale in. Partial TP at 1-to-1. It's about to get hit, literally. My partial TP is very close to being hit, but you want to be super careful. I've gone in with the low risk position. It can very easily flip from here, right? Because this is your 4-hour, might just be creating that deeper bottom wick. But again, this structure is still holding. You have news on your side as well at this point now. Where does the stop loss goes? Stop loss goes all the way up here. My entry is literally here. Let me show you guys where my entry is. It's actually all the way here. Stop loss is all the way up here. 0.5% risk on this position. just 5 pips above the structure. Usually keep my stop loss about 5 pips above the structure. So right now I've not gone in with a lot of risk on this position because they can very easily flip, right? But now look at the 4 hour. Does it have any sort of business breaking these highs? No, it does not have any sort of business breaking these highs. It just needs to do a retest and start dropping down. What does it need to retest? This here. So now it needs to start breaking these lows. At that point, it's coming straight down. Let's see how this plays out. Could potentially scale in all the way to the downside. This might be one of them trades, but I want to make the first trade risk-free, take all the risk off the table. At that point, I'll look to scale in. Otherwise, it becomes very tricky. I'm not looking for any sort of buy positions here, though. And this sell position looks good here now. Look, we broke the lows over here. The probability is on our side now. At this point, you're expecting a pullback, right? Now, this should become your pullback. Where did the selling momentum kick in from? It kicked in all the way from up here. So you don't want to see these highs get violated. At that point, this trade becomes irrelevant. I'll cancel out my position. So let me show you guys my MetaTrader 5. I'm in a position now. Look at this. This is my position now. Very tight position, very tight stop loss, low risk position, as you guys can see. So the 1-to-1 is all the way down here. So at this point now, look, you're expecting a pullback and you want to see these lows get broken over here, right? From here, we were expecting a rejection. Why were we expecting a rejection from here? Let me show you guys on TradingView, because you have a lot of buyers sitting here. So a lot of buying orders will get executed here. So you'll see some sort of a pullback. But now you don't want to see the highs get violated. But if these do get violated, at that point, I'm calling this trade irrelevant and I'm taking out my position. And that'll be a loss, that'll be a losing trade for me. But again, because I've gone in with 0.5% risk, it's not a big deal, right? I can scale back in and make that back. But so far so good. So far so good. Just got to let it play out now. This is your new 4-hour open at this point now. You have the upper wick and you have the bottom wick as well. You don't want to see the bottom wick being rejected at this point now. You want to see more selling momentum kick in, potentially in the next 1 minute, because that's your new 5-minute open, right? With the 5-minute open, hopefully you can see some sort of push down. At this point, this becomes your rejection. You want to see a nice push up to the resistance area here. And then from there, I want to see nice rejections all the way to the downside. I'll look to scale in a little bit more if we can start closing below this now, because the probability goes back to the selling side, right? It's a game of probability. You want to see this structure here holding, and then from there, sellers take control. Now, where was the last bit of an area where sellers took control from? So sellers actually drove the price all the way from here. So now let's see. Potentially, if we do start clearing this, at that point that becomes the next bit of area, right? But now again, this was the last bit of area where buyers took control at. So now I want to see a nice close below this. At that point, if you can close below this, start turning this into a resistance, I'll scale in. Until then, I'll just let this trade play out. So the entry is literally right here. It's actually a little bit above this, my entry. Yeah, that's my entry right there. Look at the risk to reward on this trade, guys. If this works out, it's so beautiful, right? So beautiful. And yeah, let's see how it works. Let's see how it works out. Very beautiful risk to reward. Literally like 100 pips to the downside. That's how nice this trade will be if it works out. So now I want to see a nice close below this. At that point, I'll look to scale in. Until then, I'll just let this trade play out. Let my TP get hit, basically. But look, probability is on our side at this point now. We have rejected this area numerous times. That gives us some probability, right? After that, what have we done now? We've broken these lows over here. That gives us a little bit more probability on our side. We actually broke the lows at this point now. But now, because the buying orders have kicked in, you're going to see some sort of momentum to the top side. But again, you're seeing structure by structure. You're playing structure by structure. Now, look, as long as we respect this, we're good. We're good. This setup should work out for us as long as we respect these highs here. So this should not scare you. This is just a pullback, right? Unless you see an engulfing bullish candle engulfing everything to the left. At that point, you want to manage risk. Until then, this just becomes your pullback, because look at your 4-hour. It has the upper wick as well as the bottom wick. Now, if it breaks the bottom wick again, that could be another good position to scale in with, because what business does it have breaking the bottom wick once again? But let's see if we can close below this now, and there will be more probability on our side. So now this is what we have to see. If we can close below this, obviously when we do break this, that's more probability. But if we do close below this, turn this into a resistance area, kind of like align it with this, at that point more probability goes on our side. Until then, just gotta let it do its thing. Right now it's quite rangy as well. So yeah, let's see how it plays out. It just doesn't want to go down, God. It's okay, guys. Look, the probability is on our side. This should not scare you. Just let it play. Just let it play out. You're gonna see momentum kick in, one massive bearish candle straight to the TP. Until then, just let it play out. It's just part of the game. You'll see choppiness. You'll see rangy markets. It should not scare you. Look, right now is the probability on our side. Most definitely, we're creating no. There we go. Wow, look at this, guys. There we go. I'm gonna make a risk. Ooh, look at this. I'm gonna make a risk free real soon. Look at this beast now. Look, breaking below this. At this point, can we close below this? This was the last bit of area where bias to control. Look, we formed a new low now. That's more probability on our side. Where did we form a new low from? We actually formed a new low all the way from here now. This is more probability on our side. On our side. Look at this now. The probability is starting to stack up in our favor again. That's very nice. See, this should give you more confidence to hold this trade at this point. And there we go. What a nice trade. Look at this, guys. I'll be making this risk-free real soon. I'm up more than 10 pips at this point now. As soon as we start tapping 1827, I'll make this trade risk-free. I'll put my stop loss at entry. And there we go, guys. It's a risk-free trade at this point now. This is a risk-free trade. I cannot lose this anymore. If this hits the TP, that's a winning trade right there, guys. Literally from the top side of the range. But at this point, I cannot lose any more money on this. I would like to scale back in. But right now, I want to obviously see if we can hit the TP on this or even get stopped at break even. But at this point, I cannot lose a single penny on this, guys. And look at this beauty. Look at this beauty. It might just go straight to the TP. Let's see. Let's see. And guys, the TP is coming up at this point now. And the TP is coming up now, guys. Make sure you start dropping W's in the YouTube live stream. And that's the TP hit, guys. Winning trade right there. What a beautiful trade, guys. That's the TP hit right there. Start dropping W's in the YouTube live stream, guys. What a winning trade. That was amazing, amazing, amazing. So now we're going to look to scale in because obviously this was 0.5% risk. I still have more risk left and I'll look to scale in. But there we go, guys. Look at that beauty, man. I told you guys, let the probability get stacked in your favor. Execute with confidence. Don't be scared. Wow, wow, wow. Amazing, amazing. I'll look to scale in though. This position, if it can give me now, honestly, if we start turning this into, oh, I want to take another position here, honestly. I really want to take another position here soon. But guys, what a beautiful trade. Can we drop a like on the YouTube live stream? Can we see 40 likes on the YouTube live stream? Look at that, guys. We waited patiently. It went straight to our TP. Like literally our TP got hit right there. Now let me show you the risk to reward so far. Look, at this point now, this becomes your risk-free trade. Your risk should not be open at this point, and your 1-to-1s have been secured here, whatever you secured, right? I secured 90% here. Now if this goes all the way down to my TP, look how much my runner will give me. Literally, let me show you guys. My runner will give me another 70 pips. Ooh, I'm actually tempted to take another position here. I can't lie to you guys. I'm actually tempted to take another position up here, actually. If we can start breaking these lows over here. Because we're turning this into a retest area. If we start closing below this, honestly, I'm tempted to take another position. Okay, if I take another position, I'll let you guys know. But make sure you guys drop a like on the YouTube live stream for the transparency. We're so transparent, right? This becomes your pullback at this point. This is looking really, really good. I can't lie to you. Really, really good. Maybe we can potentially scale in over here now. Okay, now look. Again, where was the last bit of area where sellers took control from? Right there. We're turning this area into a resistance. If we can form a double top here now, start breaking these lows, I'm going to take another position to scale in. Because the first position is risk-free. The profits have been secured. At this point, I can risk even more, right? That's the beauty of this. But make sure you guys drop a like on the YouTube live stream. As soon as I jump in another setup, I'll let you guys know. Bro, I'm in this. This is going all the way to the downside. I'm in this bad boy. Honestly. 18. I'm about to go in this, honestly. Let's see. Let's reject. Stop breaking those lows. Let's go. As soon as now we retest this, break these lows. It's going all the way downtown again. Let's break these lows now. Come on. Give us this beautiful, beautiful trade. So you don't want to see these highs get violated at this point now. This is where the sellers are sitting. You want to see more selling momentum kick in to take this bad boy all the way down. Let me just set this up. So I'm with 0.5% risk on this trade again. Let's see now if this can work out, and I'll execute on this with no hesitation. But it needs to respect this. You don't want to see this engulf everything to the left. At that point, it becomes irrelevant because you're faking out the previous candle as well. At that point, it's coming all the way to the top side. But if you see a rejection here, I'm executing on this. Are we going to see a rejection or not? It needs to reject now. Let's go. Nice engulfing bearish candle. Yeah, I'm closing the magic keys, guys. I'm closing it. This becomes irrelevant at this point now. Not looking to scale in, but my runner might get stopped out though. My runner is very close to being stopped out right now. Very close to being stopped out, my runner. Because this area here, I want to see this being respected, and like I want to see more selling momentum kick in from here. Then at that point, I was happy to execute over here. But until then, if we start turning this into a support area, we're coming all the way. And my runner has been stopped out at this point now. So I've got 0 trades running. I mean, obviously, I do have more risk there. I can take more trades. But yeah, first trade was a winner. The runner has been stopped out. But at this point now, it becomes a bit tricky to actually like scale in with a sell position just yet. It becomes really tricky. So let's just see how much this trade made me though. Because it was 0.5% risk. Made me about $800. Not bad, not bad. Yeah, that's not bad. Something, right? 16 pips caught on this trade. Okay then, guys. At this point, honestly, as I said, look. Again, look at the liquidity zone, right? Even though there are sellers sitting here, where is the actual liquidity zone? It's all the way up here, right? So if we can get a retest of this or even form a new low below this area, still good to go down. But I was just looking for a position here, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Ooh, look at this candle now. It might be loading up. This might just be that rocket ship candle. After retesting this, it might just be that rocket ship candle. Oh, this might be it, guys. I'm going to be super careful, though. I'm going to be extra careful. See if you can see some sort of nice close below this. Let's just take this out now. Let's clean the charts again a little bit more. Keep our charts clean all the time. Let's look at the other charts as well. Look at this. Man, this is a retest of that zone I had as well. Ooh, if I see a bearish candle now, could execute on this, but I got one trade left in the tank, so I want to be extra careful. Extra careful. Extra careful. This is your new 15-minute open as well, so let's see how this is playing out. Because the thing is, right, if I take another position at that point, I can't take any more positions. But if I can actually wait a little bit and execute on a position all the way from up here, at that point, I'll be a really happy man. Check 5 minutes. I see the 5 minutes. I see the 5 minutes. It's potentially forming that bottom wick, retesting the support area, right? But again, this is your pullback candle, man. This is your pullback candle as well. So look, guys, we actually had a winning trade within this mess. Look how insane that is. That is really powerful. We had a winning trade within this mess. So now, if you guys have taken this trade with me, it was a winning trade. Honestly, you should be very happy and you should not be risking anymore. But I will be looking to take another trade because I can see potentially gold pushing up 100 pips or even dropping 100 pips to the downside. I think we're literally just loading up. Something really massive is coming up. Really big. So I want to wait. Look at that. This is the zone where the previous weekly rejected from as well. Yeah, honestly, buy positions is just a big no-no for me. One sell position played out. I want to see if I can execute on another sell position, but hopefully from up there somewhere. Until then, I'm just going to sit on my hands and let price do whatever price is doing. So these are all-time highs that we have formed up here now. The liquidity zone. From here, this is where we got a rejection from. Obviously, price came all the way back up here. From here, again, the momentum kicked into the downside. Look at that. Again, momentum to the downside kicked in just from here. From this point. So now, until we actually don't... This is now... Look, this becomes another swing high, right? This was the first swing high. This becomes your second swing high. So as long as we're below this, we're actually good to go. And now, At this point, let's see if this becomes our next swing high. If we start breaking these lows, this becomes your next swing high. So even something like this now could be good, could be really good. Expecting price to go down, but not below. Maybe break of this to be on the safer side, right? Because at that point you're forming a new low, but you want to see a nice break of this because this is where you know the buyers are sitting. Until then, you're forming higher highs and higher lows. But honestly, at the moment we are in a downtrend. Everything's saying sells, nothing saying buys. The only thing I can see us doing is, if we do want to push up, is potentially to push up to the zones that we have. From there, grab liquidity and start dropping down. But let's see if we can break below this, guys. I'll be back literally in 2 minutes. I'm going to go drink some water, but hopefully we're going to see sales playing out in a little bit. We've got NYSE approaching in the next 12 minutes as well, so we just have to have patience, sit on our hand. Also, guys, my target today is 40 likes on the YouTube live stream. Can we see that happening today? We gave our one winning trade. We're going to give out more trades as well, but as I said, we're very patient traders. We're going to wait for the extra bit of confirmation. If the probability is stacked in our favor, we'll execute. Until then, we just have to wait. This is also a double top formation up here as well. Just keep that in your mind. This area has been respected numerous times. Anyway, I'll be back in 2 minutes, guys. Drop a like on the YouTube live stream as soon as I'm back. Hopefully we can catch another setup. I'll be right back. Yes, Garcia, you ready for these sells, bro?
No, I'm not trading no more.
Oh, you took one trade? How many trades you took?
Yeah, I took one and I got stopped out.
The sell position.
Yeah, I thought we were taking sells at
The one up there. Yeah, I mean, bro, it would have worked out, but where was your stop loss? How many pips above the structure?
it was 40 pips total stop loss.
Yeah, I think you got wicked out. The
Yeah.
trade, the trade was not a loser. You actually got wicked out. That's what's happened. But the idea played out though. The trade actually played out. You just got wicked out. That's what's happened, pretty much. That is part of the game, man. Did you take the second sell position then? The one we
Hmm?
took. The
No, I
second
didn't take
position.
it.
Didn't take it. It's okay.
No.
At this point, honestly, you were forming higher highs, higher lows over here. Just have to wait for NYSE to kick in, see if some momentum comes into the market. And then at that point, hopefully, I'm really interested in seeing these sales play out. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to set up some alarms up here as well. Really want to see what happens up here. Because if we can start tapping into this area, I'm going to set alarm. I'll just set up here on this line. Add alert. Yeah, I'm just going to add alert here. Because as soon as we start tapping this area, you're going to see something massive happen. Because there's so many orders here, man. You have a lot of sell orders here as well as the buy orders there. So again, going back to the other charts, because they're much more cleaner, we can make more sense out of it. It is forming higher highs and higher lows at this point, right? Now NYSE is approaching. At that point you can potentially do something, but until then just have to wait and see. Again, playing the game of probability. Where is the first swing high? It's all the way up here. This is your first swing high. Now this is your second swing high. So now, until you actually violate any of these, technically you are in lower lows and lower highs structure. So two things can really happen. We can start seeing something like this play out from here, or even from up there. So either something like that playing out. Otherwise, if we start to clear both of these areas, at that point we'll come in all the way up to retest the highest, and then hopefully from there something will play out. But honestly, until then now, just have to wait and see, because right now we are in a downtrend. Lower lows and lower highs are being formed, and yeah, let's just see what happens. Let's just see what happens. Look at your 4-hour candle as well at this point now. It's rejecting from this resistance area that we have. So yeah. But again, buys become really tricky. Even taking a buy position from here becomes tricky. Doable, your 1-to-1s can get hit, but really tricky right now. But now again, if you start breaking above this, at that point, guess what? Buying position makes sense, right? Because the probability is on your side. And now, where was the last bit of area where buyers to control, playing the game of probability again? Look at this candle. It started. Ooh, look at this now, engulfing everything to the left. I think sales might start to play out now, bro. Might be looking to execute in here, guys. I'm gonna just get my magic keys ready. Might be looking to execute here. Get my magic keys ready here. Everything good to go. Everything's good to go. Okay. Alright. Might be executing here. Sell position now. Okay, I'm going to execute a sell position here, guys. Again, low risk. Stop loss above the current structure. And let's see now. At this point, look, again, probability stacked in our favor. Going to obviously hold this one now for a bit. This is more like a intraday trade for me because it's low risk. And obviously after this now, this is like so, like this is such a volatile session, and this is literally like 4 minutes away from NYSE now. So hopefully with the NYSE we can get that push down, right? But now if this does take me, I'm gonna call it a day, because this is my second trade now, so I want this to really hold. And stop loss obviously goes above the structure as usual. About 26 pips my stop loss is. So it's literally just up here. Literally above the second swing high, by the way. So until we actually violate the second swing high, we are in a downtrend, right? So my stop loss is literally above the second swing high. And I'm going to hold this. I'm going to hold this for a bit, because we have so much potential to the downside. And now, again, let's play the game of probability. Look, where did we start the second leg up from? This is where we started the second leg up from. Right here. So these are the lows now. Let's quickly just mark these lows. So did we get close below this? Yes, we did get close below this. So at this point now, technically this becomes your pullback candle here, right? So now as soon as it starts breaking these lows, that's more probability to the downside. So now let's see if the next candle opens and it can break these lows over here. So now it needs to create that upper wick and then obviously start dropping, break these lows there, and then that's some more probability to the downside. So now let's see how much probability do we have so far. We are in a lower low, lower high structure. That's obviously probability on our side right here. At this point, look at this, right? Bearish engulfing candle, that's probability on our side. That's probability on our side. Okay, at this point now, closing below this with bias to control from, that's probability on our side as well right here to downtrend, right? So to the downside right here, that's probability on our side. Where should I put this? Yeah, let's just put it here. I'll put 20% probability here as well. Now we're breaking the lows again. That's more probability on our side, but can we close below this? If we close below this, that's more probability, right? Can we close below this? Yes, we did close below this. That's more probability to our side again. So now do you see how you can start turning the structure into like a higher probability setup? Look, we have 40-60% probability now. Now how can we stack more probability? As soon as we start to violate these laws. So as soon as we start to break these laws, at that point this becomes a really high probability setup, right? And I can potentially just like hold this all the way to the downside, even like 1 to 2, or let 1 to 2 get hit on this. But we need to break this in order for this to become the extra high probability setup. So playing the game of probability. So far everything's going good, but this is the last bit of area where you did start to form the higher highs from, right? So as soon as you violate this, that's like the ultimate probability that we have been waiting for. At that point, all the probabilities stacked in our favor again, and I can just let this play. I can just hold this for 1 to 3. I don't care. That's how much confidence I'll have in this. Because look, again, forming lower lows, lower highs, there is nothing that's saying buys. So if it stops me out, that's just part of the game. Right now, this is a higher probability setup, and that's why I executed on it, as long as we respect the second swing high that we have, which we should not close above, right? So my stop loss is actually just 5 pips above the second swing high that we have. So my stop loss is literally, yeah, just up here basically, somewhere around here. So yeah, now I'll just let this play out all the way down to the daily lows first, and then obviously if we do violate those daily lows, at that point, guess what's happening? These are the daily lows. We violate them, we're coming all the way down to 1812, right? So I'm holding this now till 1812. If we violate the daily lows, first target daily lows, look at the risk to reward on this. Beautiful, right? Beautiful. Now let's see how this plays out. Another minute, you got NYSE coming up. So hopefully with the NYSE, we can get that massive push, start breaking all lows and start dropping down. So let's see how this plays out. Just have to let the probabilities do their thing. Now again, with the NYSE, you can get a very massive push. That's why I've given it a lot of room to breathe. That's why my stop loss is actually all the way up here, right? Because NYSE, you don't want to keep your stop loss here, because it can really easily wick you out. It might want to actually retest this again, maybe even form a second double top up here, and then from there reject. But now if you do start clearing this, at that point I'm going to call it a day, because price wants to go all the way up there, and at that point my session is done as well, right? So I don't want to be part of this. But now if we do see the sales playing out, I'll be a happy man. It's a low risk trade, but again, that's why I'll let the risk to reward do its thing. So let's see how it plays out. This is your NYSE push now, creating the upper wick hopefully. Do we have a bottom wick on the NYSE? We do have a tiny bit of a bottom wick at the moment. We did retest this resistance as well, so let's see what happens. If it does want to push up now, I'm going to call it a day. I'll take this trade out. From here, I'm expecting new lows to be formed. Otherwise, we're going to go all the way up, grab liquidity, and then do something later on. And that's obviously out of my session, and I would not like to trade that. There's a support area. This resistance area. Someone said there's a support area on the 5-minute time frame. Oh, you're talking about this one here? Yeah, nice. Yeah, this is your NYSE push, right? So it's forming an upper wick, and now if it starts breaking the bottom wick and starts breaking these lows, that's more probability on our side, right? So let's see what happens. But again, now it has the upper wick. Let's quickly see how this candle closes at this point now, right? Let's see how it closes. That's why I've given it a lot of room to breathe. Two things will happen now. Either it will break the upper wick and start pushing up, or it will start breaking the bottom wick and start pushing down. But if it breaks the upper wick, starts pushing up, here, it will stop me out, and I'll call it a day. But it's a high probability setup in my opinion though, so it should be good to go. But if it wants to push up, then I can't do anything about it. It needs to push up, right? But that's why I've gone in with low risk position. Just going to move this down a little bit more, because potentially selling momentum kicks in from just here. about 18 to 931. Yeah, that's great. Okay, let's see how this plays out now. So my TP is literally here. Yeah, I mean my stop loss. But what I'll do is I'll make it risk-free at 1-to-1 though. If the 1-to-1s do get hit, I'll make it risk-free. And once I make it risk-free, I'm not going to secure any profits. I'm just gonna let it run for, you know, at least till the daily lows. I'll let it run. Because now, if it wants to drop, it needs to drop now. This is your NYSE. If it doesn't do anything now, if it starts pushing up again, we're just going to be stuck within this consolidation. And I do not plan on trading this consolidation. I'll call it a day. We had one winning trade. Let's see what this trade does. It's a high probability setup. The odds are stacked in our favor, so it should play out. But if it doesn't play out, that's just the game, right? Not every trade is a winner. At that point, you have to be a disciplined trader and call it a day. But let's see how it plays out. As I said, this was your NYSE push. It can just form a double top up here, which seems like that's what it's doing, right? If it closes below this now, there's a little bit more probability that we have, because we kind of got to stack up the probability again and again and again on the 1 minute time frame, right? So at this point, this becomes irrelevant. This becomes irrelevant. And this becomes irrelevant. Now the probability will be that, look, this is forming a double top up here. So that's our probability now, again, to stay in this. I'll give this a probability. That's the probability we have now. Look at this candle, engulfed everything to the left. This is your rejection, double top formation, engulfing bearish candle, more probability to the downside. Again, playing the game of probability. Now, where is the last bit of area where we got the push up from? It's literally here. So as soon as we start to break below this, that's going to be more probability, right? So we're going to start stacking up probability again. This is where we started the leg up from. So as soon as we start to clear this, that's more probability on our side. So let's see if we can start clearing this and start breaking below this. At that point, these cells should play out, right? It's just a game of probability. There should be no emotions attached to this setup. If the probability is stacking in our favor, nothing should obviously scare us, right? It's as simple as that. Now look at this candle, again starting to reject, very nice double top formation. Let's see what happens. If we can start to break below this, that'll be very nice probability to the downside. I'll give it more probability here, and as soon as we break this, at that point I'm just holding this and closing my eyes. But until then, it becomes a bit tricky, right? But this is your NYSE, so I'm expecting some nice moves. So hopefully we can see either a move to the downside, or, you know, we get stopped up. Well, hopefully it doesn't range. I don't like ranges. Okay, again, look at this area. At the moment, it is still holding. Are we forming a double bottom here? We're forming new higher highs and higher lows. So again, we push down from here. If we start to break this, at that point, the probability goes on buying side. And at that point, I'll take out this trade. Okay, there we go. There's a lot of momentum to the top side now. If we start to violate this and start closing above this, I'm going to take out this position. Yeah, I'm looking to take out this position now, guys, because there is a lot of momentum to the top side, and I'll call it a day. And yeah, this is it. I'm done for the day now. Second trade stopped me out. First trade was alright. It went straight to the TP. But yeah, it's a game of probability. This is just very volatile price action. Is there any sort of news? Was it like a news event or something? This was a crazy candle. This was the only news event that we had. After that, there was nothing else really. But again, technically you are in a downtrend, but you violated the second swing high now. You haven't closed above it, but it wicked us out. Let's be honest. Yeah, like I would have waited for the close above to take out my position, but it wicked me out. So it is what it is. Gonna call it a day, guys. Be disciplined, not gonna overtrade, not gonna over risk. We'll be back tomorrow. Break even day today. It is what it is. Yesterday was a winner. We've had like 6-7 winning days in a row now, and from here it might just start to play out. But today the price action was really choppy. So within this price action, if you had like a break-even day or even a winning day, that's really great. That's really great. And so yeah, guys, at this point we're gonna call it a day. Be disciplined, and we'll be back tomorrow. So see you guys tomorrow, same time, 8 a.m. EST. I don't know if the times have changed in the UK, but NY open basically. So see you guys tomorrow. Peace. I won my 200k challenge yesterday. Nice, 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 man. That's amazing. Yeah, honestly, in order for you to pass the challenge, you have to be really, really disciplined. Because look, as I said, I would take out this position if it closed above the second swing high, right? Until then, this is just, again, taking all the selling orders, but it was just very explosive, right? That's the thing, really, really explosive. So it wicked us out, but it is what it is. It might just start dropping now. It can very easily just start dropping now because, again, the trade is not irrelevant. The first swing high is all the way up there. This was just second top being formed at the first swing high, but I want to be very disciplined and I want to stay out of this now, even though the cells look like they might just play out now, honestly, after wicking me out. So again, the trade, oh wow, look at this. You might just see 100 pips to the downside now. Oh no, after wicking me out, obviously. Look at this. Wow, look at this, guys. What we have been waiting for the whole time. We just had to wick me out. Look at this, again, playing the game of probability. As soon as you start to violate these two lows here, as I said, I would even hold this with my eyes closed, but unfortunately I'm being wicked out now, and you're going to see me close my MetaTrader 5 right there. It's all about being disciplined. If you can stick to 1 to 2 trades a day, that's like very great. Until then, you have to work on yourself. And so guys, anyway, I'm going to call it a day. I'll catch up with you guys tomorrow.